welcome to my channel. Today we're finally doing my 2022 empties of the year. So I gathered all my empty skincare and makeup products and some miscellaneous stuff from all of 2022 and I've saved them so I could count them up and see what I actually use up. I think these kind of videos are kind of fun and I'll keep doing this for the foreseeable future. So the total is I finished up 22 skincare products, or you know, I also count lip balms and stuff like that. And I finished up 26 makeup products and 1 perfume. And I think that's everything, and 1 pair of lashes. So I guess I did all right because, as you may have seen, my Project Pan finale wasn't a very glorious one. But I did finish up plenty of products besides my Project Pan. So I definitely got some insight in what I was actually using. Also, I bought a lot less, or at least I feel like I bought less foundations and concealers and stuff, so that helped me go through that stuff a little bit quicker. Now, I'm not on a low buy or anything, I just don't have a lot of money to spare, but what I have I usually do spend on makeup and other fun stuff. It's not like I'm restricting myself or setting any goals, but I do like to see my products getting used. I do like to finish them up. I do like the satisfaction of getting to know my products really, really well. But on the other hand, I also get a little bit sad when something is finished that I really, really love. In that respect, I am kind of sad about some of these empties, but on the other hand, it is kind of fun to visit something else. So with that out of the way, let me introduce myself. If you're new here, my name is Cecile. I'm almost 30 years old and I live in the Netherlands, and my channel is all about makeup and a little bit of fashion, and I range from drugstore to luxury to indie makeup. I like all of it. I'm currently wearing some Glam Light Frosted Flakes on my eyes and on my lips, which I honestly really love. So if that sounds interesting to you, then please consider subscribing, and now let's get into these empties. Alright, let's just start with the fun stuff, which for me is the makeup. So let me go in order of putting stuff on my face. So if I'm looking correctly, I have 4... wait, these aren't primers. So if I'm looking correctly, I have 2 primers that I finished up. Well, most of the year I haven't really used primers because some of my favorite foundations I found work to be better, or to have worked better without a primer. But I did finish up the Too Faced Hangover Primer. This was in my Project Pan. This was one of the first things I emptied up. I like this. I bought this on recommendation of Morgan Turner, and even though it is moisturizing, it's not nearly as moisturizing as an oil is. So I personally prefer something like that, or just a moisturizer. I didn't really see the purpose of this one. It was fine. I'm not going to repurchase it. So that's one. The second is this mini, which feels like cheating, but anyway, I emptied it up. This is the mini Lure Radiance Primer from Guerlain. This is actually one of my favorite primers. I do own the big bottle as well, which is also almost finished up. It'll be in my 2023 empties. This is a very nice, very gripping primer that still leaves a little bit of radiance. So I honestly really like this. Then let's jump into setting sprays, because I honestly don't really use these in my routine anymore, so I'm just going to mention them now. I have the Anastasia... Why do I say Anastasia? I would say Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Set Setting Spray, and then the MAC Fix Plus in the shade Pink Light. Both of these are very glittery and very dewy. This one at the end was so concentrated that I could actually see a pink glow like highlighter on my skin. Both of these nozzles weren't amazing. They gave little splotches, which is the most important reason why I don't like setting sprays anymore. And also I don't really see the benefit. My makeup lasts fine, my skin is normal. So yeah, I'm glad I finished these up. I think I still have 1 more in my collection, which is just a regular mattifying one, which I could use for nights out and stuff. But these I'm glad to be done with. So now let's jump into foundations. I finished up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 foundations. Yeah, I finished up 6, and I went through at least half of a lot of different ones. That's because I think in 2021 I purchased about 15 foundations, which it makes sense. I was growing my collection, I wanted options and I wanted to try stuff. But then in 2022, money got a little bit tighter and I tried about 6 foundations, and a couple of them I actually already finished up. So therefore I got to go into my collection a lot more. So let me just go in random order. So in my project pen was the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. This is in the shade Deauville Light Forward, which is actually a little bit too dark for me, but the undertone is really good. So I did really like this. It didn't really need a primer, but if I wanted it to be a little bit more glowy, I could use a glowy primer underneath. I think if I would have this in my collection now, I would treat it as a matte full coverage foundation and not a sheer glow foundation. So I would put the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter underneath, and I would maybe use an oil as well. I would try to make this a little bit less matte. But the formula is amazing. This glides on the skin so effortlessly, never any brush strokes, which is something that I find with a lot of NARS foundations. So I'm glad to have owned this. I may even repurchase it, I'm not sure yet. Next up, I want to talk about the Dior Forever Natural Nude foundation. This was a lovely foundation, only the shade wasn't perfect for me. I had this in the shade 1N, which was a little bit dark and a little bit pink, but I made it work, especially over the summer. This was such a wonderful foundation. It wasn't metallic or anything, but it was super glowy, and I personally really like that look. Like I said, my skin is normal, it can handle it, and I don't know what to say. I kind of liked the wet look. I like a metallic look as well, and you'll see that in another foundation, but I honestly really love this one, and if I see a proper shade for me, I think I'm going to repurchase this. I don't hear anyone talking about this anymore, but was a definite favorite for me. Skipping over to something that was more metallic, but that I loved anyway, which was the Glowish Multi-Dew Skin Tint. This has 40 ml in it, so I went through this like water, by the way. Didn't take me very long to finish this up. I use this constantly, especially over the summer, but all year round. I think what replaced this for me, because I was going to replace this during Black Friday, but what replaced this for me was the CC Plus Glow foundation from IT Cosmetics, because they have a better shade range, or at least they had a better undertone and better depth for me. This is the lightest shade, Fair, and it's a little bit pink and a little bit deep. I do think they now have a more neutral one, so I could try that out in the future, but like I said, money's a little bit tighter, so I have to make choices. I did really love this one. I loved the way it was so metallic, but still kind of gave a lot of coverage, and on my skin for some reason it didn't really accentuate any texture, even though I don't have perfect skin and I often have little breakouts and stuff. This still looked kind of pretty. So yeah, I'm kind of sad to see this go. Then another one of my favorites, which I actually only purchased in 2022 because it was released in January 2022, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. I had this in the shade 2W, and this looks like it would be too warm and too deep for me, but for some reason it just worked perfectly. If I blended it into my neck, it just disappeared, and it was a wonderful shade for me. I don't know why, it just worked. I think this may have been my favorite foundation of 2022. I'm not sure what I said in my favorites video. I think I said that. I know for some people it was too thick or too glowy. I like both those things. I like it to be a little bit less natural, but still pretty. And I like there to be a decent amount of coverage. I can deal with less coverage too, but for a perfect foundation, I like there to be a decent amount of coverage without it being a cake face. And I love it to be glowy. So for me, this was a perfect foundation, lay on my skin very beautifully. I'm definitely going to repurchase this. I'm just not sure when yet. I actually think as soon as I can. I purchased Charlotte Tilbury at the Bijenkorf here in the Netherlands, so every time I go to Eindhoven where there is one, or to Amsterdam where there is also one, I tend to pick up something from Charlotte Tilbury, so I may pick up this one again next time. Then I have my Huda Beauty Faux Filter foundation. This one. I finished this up quite recently. It's in the shade 120B. This was a little bit pink for me, but I could definitely make it work. It was it was pretty okay, and for such a full coverage foundation it needed to be. I think this is the most full coverage foundation that I owned, and for that reason I'm kind of sad to see it go, because I like having foundations like these. And even though it was pretty matte with a nice primer underneath, like an oil or like the YSL Blur primer, which is very smoothing, this did work really well for me. And I also made it last pretty long if I didn't fuss with it too much with products on top. So I really loved using this. I think there's a lot of, yeah, there's 35 mLs in here, so it's a little bit bigger. May even repurchase this, may try another full coverage foundation, but I like having stuff like this for when I want my makeup to look a little bit more glam. And for some reason this didn't even look too unnatural on me. And then finally for foundations, I have my L'Essentiel Haute Perfection, the 24-hour matte version of L'Essentiel from Guerlain. I have this in the shade 001, which is the lightest neutral shade. I would definitely prefer the lightest warm shade, but they didn't have it in my store. So I bought this one at the time and I love this so much. I love the bottle, I love the finish. It's not very matte, but it is perfecting. It's the more elegant version of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter. But I'm not going to repurchase this probably, because there is a dewy version of this one, the regular L'Essentiel, which was the previous version. And I think I'm going to give that one a try, because I like glowy foundations so much. But wonderful, wonderful foundation. I only finished up one concealer, which is actually still quite a big deal for me, because this is the first concealer in my life that I actually finished up completely. This is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Concealer. I have it in the lightest shade, number 1. This was a beautiful, creamy, full coverage concealer, which, if I didn't use too much and I set it properly, didn't crease on me. At the moment, I figured out how to make most concealers not crease on me, or at least not a lot. But I think I would still repurchase this whenever I'm buying something from Pat McGrath with a sale. What has replaced this for me at the moment is the Boing Cakeless Concealer from Benefit, which I'm also wearing right now, but I think this is a little bit prettier and also a little bit more full coverage. I finished up one powder, only because I don't really use a lot of powder. I only use a little bit right here in this triangle, sometimes a little bit right there, not a lot. This is actually in a little baggie because the lid broke. But this is what it looks like. It's the Essence Brighten Up powder. I like this. I really like the shade of it. It's a very pale yellow, which worked beautifully on me. It wasn't extremely brightening, but it wasn't darkening either. So I like this, but it wasn't a very strong powder. So I guess I'm probably not even going to repurchase this, even though it was quite affordable. I personally really like powder foundations at the moment to set my concealer. Skipping over to some brow products. I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. This one I really loved, but at some point my eyebrows wouldn't stay up anymore with it. So I had this phase, I think everyone did, where I really made my eyebrows point up to the sky. I still kind of make them point upwards, but a little bit more slanted. But at some point I really wanted them to stay up pretty much vertically. And I tried to do it with this, and for a while it worked, and at some point it didn't really work anymore. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe I started using less of it because I was almost done with it. That could very well be true. I'm not going to replace this because I like my Pink Honey better. This one kept my brows feeling very sticky, and at some point it stopped working, and it was quite expensive. So I think I'm not going to give this another try. And then also from Anastasia Beverly Hills, I have a Brow Wiz in the shade Taupe. I like this. It's a little bit scratchy, but the color was nice and the pencil worked fine. But it's expensive and I don't really use brow pencils anymore, so won't repurchase this one either. I finished up one eyeshadow primer. This is the I Love Color Intensifying Eyeshadow Base from Essence. Already repurchased this. Or actually, it was in my Christmas advent calendar that I got from my mom. So I already have a new one, already started using this. Might be my favorite eyeshadow primer at the moment. Really love this, very cheap, lasted a pretty long time. Nothing to complain about. I finished up two eyelash glues. Couldn't figure out the word. This is my favorite one. This is from Queen Tarzi. It's the clear one. This is about 9 or 10 euros on a sale, so it's not the most affordable. It doesn't last the longest time, but it does work really, really well, and your lashes still come off at the end of the night. So that's always nice. So I have already repurchased this and started using it. And then I also finished up this little duo glue. This is also really good, but I hated the squeezy tube. I used way too much of the product. I finished it up in about 2 months, which is crazy. The top broke at some point. So even though I really like this, and I'll give other duo glues a try at some point, this one probably not. I have one liquid eyeliner. This is the Givenchy Disturbia eyeliner. 10 points for packaging alone. Also had the mascara in my Empties the previous year. I really like this one, but obviously it's quite expensive. But it does have a really nice tip where it's very pointed. I do think it's a felt tip, but I honestly don't hate that. It stayed wet enough to do a proper wing and everything, so I like this. I only have 3 mascaras. I have this mini blue mascara from Yves Rocher. Already replaced it with my Hema blue mascara. This didn't really do a lot for me. The color was very pretty, but it just didn't really give a lot of volume or anything. The Hema one is better. Then I have my old Lift Up Volume and Lift mascara from Catrice. I now have the Power Hold version, but this one is really good. And then I have the Essence Lash Princess False Effect mascara. Also using this one right now, but in the waterproof version. This is one of my favorite mascaras. I put in this disgusting little pair of eyelashes because these are what's left of the Demi Wispies, if I'm not mistaken. Ripped them at some point and then cut off the corners, and I just wanted to show you that I'm definitely throwing these away, but I'm probably going to need to throw away some other lashes soon, but decided to throw them in. Then I have one eye product left. This is the Dior, what you're called, the Dior Show Liquid Mono Glitter Eyeshadow. I'm not going to open this because the smell is rancid, but the color was so pretty and the sparkles in this were amazing, and I used this quite a lot until it started to smell really bad. But I love this. I don't think they have this anymore, but I would repurchase this if they did. And then finally I have 4 lip products. I definitely have a lot less glosses than last year because in 2021 I started using up my gloss collection as lip balms because I had so much of them. But now I kind of feel like that's a shame. So I started using actual lip balms for lip balm and just gloss for other things. So I only have 2. I have this mini from Anastasia Beverly Hills, one of my favorites. I had this kit with 4 minis which came out in holiday 2021 or maybe 2020, I'm not sure. I bought it a half a year later on major discount. And I love all of them. I'm almost done with all of them, but this one completely. This is in the shade Bubbly. It's a perfect topper and it's beautiful. The other gloss I have is the Fake Lips Volume Gloss from Catrice. Better than Fake Lips, I'm sorry. In the shade, I think it's just one shade. Yeah, I don't think it has a shade name. It was sort of a white pearly gloss. I don't really remember what I thought about this. I think it was fine, but not very glowy or sparkly. Not enough anyway. And definitely not a false, what's it called? Fake lips effect. That definitely not. Then I finished up 2 lipsticks. This is one that I actually got from my mom and that was already quite far used, but I finished it up completely. This is a very old Christian Dior packaging, but for some reason still smells lovely. And this is in the shade 549 Express, which is definitely not available anymore, but it's a beautiful metallic rosy red. It's pretty. And then the other one is my Live It Up from Charlotte Tilbury. This is in the Kissing formula. I feel like I will replace this at some point. I do have a lot of Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks at the moment that I'm using up. So if I finish up a couple of them, then I might repurchase this one. So that was it for my makeup empties. Now I'll quickly go through my skincare empties because I honestly don't really care about skincare, but I do want to show you what I used. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 8. There you are. I have 8 lip balms. I think I actually have one more, but I'm not sure where it is. So I have 3 of these DA Classic Shea Butter lip balms. Wouldn't recommend this. They're very cheap. DA is a Dutch drugstore. For anyone who lives here, they're very dry. They actually don't feel like you're moisturizing your lips at all. They just keep the very bare, bare scratches of cold away, but this one I wouldn't recommend. I have this one from Yves Rocher, and this one I really loved. You just go through it very quickly. This is the orange fondant. Orange fondant? Melting orange. This, oh, it still smells so beautiful. And I really like this one. It was very moisturizing. I still have a couple of them. I have this really cute one. I'm not sure where it's from, but I would just want to show you. It's this little alpaca with a sparkly gloss inside, and I don't know, I got it at my drugstore, but it's just so cute. I had this one from Essence, the Catching Clouds. Definitely bought this for the packaging. A little bit expensive for a lip balm for my taste, but it definitely didn't have any color. Then I have one which I'm not even sure if I should show you. I think this is a freebie from my mom's work. Oh, and then I have this one. This was a repurchase already from Tony Moly. Tony Moly is my favorite skincare brand. If I ever use skincare, it's preferably from Tony Moly. So this is the Banana Lip Balm, which was very thick and very moisturizing, very nourishing, and really, if I put this on at night, my lips still felt very moisturized in the morning, which they usually do not. So yeah, really love this one. Has a cute attachment. I put this on my phone a couple of times. Yeah, this was my second one. Probably won't repurchase it because it is quite expensive, but I really love this one. I did say I have one perfume, and I do. This is close to my heart. I'm not sure where it's from. I got this as a 10 ml sample with a magazine at some point. Wouldn't recommend this. Very cheap, childish perfume. So we're moving into my hand stuff. I have one hand serum. This is from Ethos, which is another Dutch drugstore. This is alright, but it doesn't really moisturize. You actually need to put a hand cream on top of this, so kind of pointless. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hand creams. This is ridiculous, but there are 9 of them. This is probably the best one. This is the Working Hands hand cream. This is what I use when it's dead cold in the winter and I keep forgetting my gloves and I get these little hooks and cloves in my cracks, I mean, in my hands. That's when I use this, but it doesn't feel really nice. It feels a little bit heavy. Then, let's see. I think my favorite one was this one. I get these in sample sets, which people often gift my parents-in-law. So that's why I have so many sample sets. I think they're still 50 ml, but they're not giant tubes. So my favorite one was this one, Rosemary's Touch from Marie Stella Marie, which is a very luxurious brand, I think. This has rosemary, lavender and geranium in it, and it smelled lovely and it worked really well, so I loved this. And I also had the hand and body lotion with Objet d'Amsterdam, number 12, with green tea, citrus notes and sage, which I also really loved. The Neo Bio one was fine. This is one from Action, which was mainly cute packaging, wouldn't recommend it, was very cheap though. Oh, this was fun. I had a Christmas set, the Nutcracker, with very spicy scents. So this was the hand lotion and the body lotion. I started using the body lotions as hand cream as well, with white patchouli and almond, which smelled lovely. And then I have a couple of ones from Rituals, Ritual of Tao and Ritual of Karma. I couldn't tell you what they smelled like anymore. I think they were fine, but I didn't really remember them. Oh, I do have one more hand cream. I actually have this one from Tony Moly again. I had the full Panda set. I got it for my birthday at some point and I love this. I think this was my second one. This is just my all-time favorite hand cream, I think. The smell is so lovely but not overbearing. And the packaging is so cute and it worked so beautifully. It felt very thick but not annoyingly so. This was a beautiful hand cream. And then from Tony Moly I also had the Moisture Boost in this beautiful little whale, which was a perfect gel moisturizer for me to use underneath makeup or to use in general. I don't like my face to feel very thick and goopy, so this was perfect. Then I finished up one dry shampoo. This is from André Long, which is a very typical Dutch brand. This wasn't my favorite. It wasn't bad, but now that I have my Baptiste, which my mom got for me, that one works a lot better. But I almost shower every day now because of my exercise, so I guess I don't really use them that much anymore. But in a pinch, always need a dry shampoo. And then I have one cleansing milk. I started using my what they're called, those little face halos with some other cleanser. So I only have one cleansing milk. This one is from Kruidvat. I think this one was fine, but I don't really love a milk. I think I like a lotion a little bit better. It feels a little bit more like it's actually cleaning my skin. So like I said, the skincare stuff isn't really that important to me, but I do really love Tony Moly products. Those I would repurchase if I just had a little bit more money. So thank you so much for watching this very long Empties video. I'll start doing them quarterly or something in 2023, but this was my roundup for the last year. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.